Today's Cosmic Key Collective reading will start with the number 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then transition to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Energy. 1, 2, 3, 4. Fire. The card that fell out is willful ignorance. The throat not wanting to communicate that, stumbling over the word and stumbling to pick it up a few times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Synchronicities. A period of stillness. Pay attention. Notice how a lot of these cards are similarly colored too. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, another red card. 5, 5, 5. Changing and shifting. 1, 2, 3, 4. Third eye. Intuition. 1, 2, 3, 4. Spirit team, the higher dimensions, and communication. So, it's on the bottom of the deck. Air, flow. In order to flow with the energies that we are currently experiencing and moving forward, it's very important to understand the energies that are present, what it is that we're feeling, what it is that we're experiencing inside and outside of ourselves, and how we might connect that to whatever it is that we're learning. What are the themes that we can notice? What are the patterns? Because this willful ignorance card, a lot of the things that we most often don't want to look at are the things that are most necessary to look at. We are having a fire lit under our bums in order to process and move through energies that we once were very willfully ignorant to. The time for willful ignorance is over. So, we have been given a previous period of stillness, and right now we're in another one. This period of stillness is not going to be one that lasts as long as the last one did. And when I say that, I mean the previous era of self and of our lives felt as arduous as HE double hockey sticks. And regardless of when you're seeing this or what period of your own human experience you're in and what themes you're processing and moving through, each and every one of us can resonate with that feeling of not moving forward. Each and every one of us can resonate with that feeling of stuff appearing to be stagnant, not progressing. However, periods of stillness are granted to us as a gift of protection. When we feel as though we're in that bubble and we're not moving, when we feel like things aren't changing, when we feel as though stuff isn't growing, when we feel that lack of progress, most of that is due to perception. The perception that momentum is not there, the perception that stagnancy is present, when really it's just a rest period and a protective period to learn, to grow within the bubble, so that nothing outside of this bubble has influence over what's going on inside the bubble, with you present in the center of it all. Pay attention to what is being presented to you in your internal and external worlds, the synchronicities. Pay attention to what you're noticing. If you can connect it in some way to whatever it is that you might have seen passing through your mind, or feeling in your body, or feeling in your heart, any part of you, anything outside of you, all of these things are connected. Draw the parallels. What are the patterns? What is it showing you? What is it teaching you? What are the themes that keep popping up over and over and over again, especially when it has to do with old energy? Something that is not often spoken about is the Fibonacci sequence. What is the Fibonacci sequence? Well, it is the spiral of creation, right? It's seen in all of reality, from the micro to the macro, in your external world, but it also applies to the internal world. It applies to the energetic. If you view experience as a spiral, and you are the point that moves along this spiral of experience, every single era of yourself and your life moves along a spiral like that. You start in the center of this, and you move along the loops of the spiral farther and farther and farther away from the center. Every single time that you are in an area where you are mastering and learning lessons, you start at the center of a spiral and you move your way to the outside until you reach the end. And once you do, you find yourself thusly thrust into the center of another spiral of learning and growing, progression and momentum. So, healing is not linear, time is not linear, and experience is not linear. That means that as we move along this spiral of experience, every layer of that spiral moves farther away from the center, right? And at the core, at the center of every spiral, are the themes and the lessons that are being learned. As you move farther away from the center, you catch glimpses of that same energy the whole time, but you're seeing it from a different perspective as you move along the spiral. And the farther and farther away you get, you revisit these energies over and over again because there's key points along all of the layers of the spiral. So when we start to see things repeating and coming back, it's because we're moving along that spiral and we're revisiting those energies to see them from different perspectives, to see those things inside of ourselves and outside of ourselves from different perspectives. That helps us learn. It helps us grow. It helps us master those lessons and master those aspects of ourselves. Because the farther away from the center you get, the easier it becomes to perceive the lesson. It becomes easier to understand what it is you're learning. It becomes easier to perceive the growth inside of yourself. Because every single time that you're farther away from that center point, you're getting to see how far you've come, the ways that you've changed since you were there, and the ways that you've changed along every path you walked, farther and farther away from the center of that spiral of your experience. So, listen to your intuition. Your intuition never lies. Your heart never lies. It's just the mind that gets things messed up sometimes. It's the interpretation of what's being presented to us. That's why mindfulness and observation is so important. When we sit in the energy of the observer rather than the absorber, we are witnessing. We aren't assigning stories or judgment. We're just witnessing everything as it unfolds before us. When you find the knowing and the understanding, that's when you take action. So, these major shifts, the change, witness that inside of yourself. Witness that in your life. Remind yourself how before is not now. Remind yourself about how nothing from the before predicates the future or the present. Just because something happened once or a million times does not mean that that's the way that it always is. And thus is the understanding of movement and change. If we relinquish our attachment to the past, our perception becomes more aligned with flow and truth and clarity, because we are not assigning stories or meaning to anything. We are being fed that information from the external and the internal worlds by observing it and allowing it to present itself to us. No reactionary energy needs to be present, because that's what that is. It's reaction. we are taking ourselves out of reaction, which is a fear-based energy. It's the fight or flight response, into a responsive energy where we are grounded, regulated, balanced, allowing things to show itself and then taking action. That's what responsiveness looks like and feels like. Even when you feel that energy of, oh, and you want to get into that energy of reaction, you stop yourself. Take a step back, take a deep breath, walk away. Take the moments that you need, however long that takes, to find clarity as the observer without judgment, to go with the flow of everything that happens in your external world and make the changes in your internal world so that you may remain balanced and grounded. These are all the healthy structures and routines we're implementing inside of ourselves. The ways that we change inside help us flow more easily and healthily in the external. And it's very important that we communicate with ourselves. That's part of the mastery. To not just ignore things because it feels uncomfortable to admit to ourselves the stuff that we really don't want to look at, which is usually to do with how we are part of the issue here. And there's no shame in that. There's no blame. This is not an energy of needing to sit in punishing yourself or feeling awful about yourself or being harsh with yourself at all. In fact, it's very important to lean into the way it feels and then show yourself grace and compassion, empathy and understanding. Every single time we make a misstep, that's not to be punished. Every single time we've done something that harmed ourselves or someone else, no need for shame or regret or blame. We're always doing the best we are able to in any given moment. And so when we make missteps, when we harm ourselves or we harm somebody else, it's only because we didn't know any better. But that's why we remain consistent with ourselves. It's why we hold ourselves accountable. And the energy of forgiveness isn't to say, yeah, it's okay that this poor behavior occurred. It's okay that I make unhealthy decisions. What it's saying is, I understand and I recognize that I can let it go, because holding on to it holds me back, holds me down. That's density that I create for myself. As long as I learn from every experience, as long as I am consistent and conscious and aware of the potential inside of myself, then I hold myself accountable. I correct myself when I notice that I am misstepping, when I'm stumbling a bit. But never be harsh with yourself about that. And also, conversely, making excuses often feels comfortable, right? We can point our fingers at a bunch of different things outside of ourselves, but we can also point our fingers at things inside of ourselves and say, well, that's why, and that's why, and that's why, and that's why. However, that's why energy is not meant for anything other than understanding where something originated, where it came from. But that is past energy. It doesn't belong in the present. Excuses don't belong in the present. If we understand where something originated and where it came from, then that gives us all the tools necessary to change it. And the change happens through our response to that understanding, our reflection on that understanding, and all of the action that we take to rewire the parts of ourselves that came into contact with those energies and were changed by them. If other energies were able to change us and we responded by internalizing it and carrying it with us and then making unhealthy actions from those places, then we also have the capability and the strength and the ability to rewire those things for a healthy purpose. Everything can be transmuted as long as you believe inside of yourself that it's possible, and then make the effort, consistently holding yourself to restructuring the way that you perceive, restructuring the way that you believe, restructuring everything for a healthier way of being, a healthier way of doing. And by that, you cultivate a more comfortable and peaceful experience inside of yourself and outside of yourself. You're the one cultivating your own garden. It's not up to anybody else. Everything outside of you is giving you even more tools to master the inside of you. It's just a matter of whether or not you choose to accept that. And I know you can. You're already doing it. This repetition is just part of the process. And you're never going backwards, unless you believe you are. So, you keep on keeping on. Don't stop. Don't give up. No matter how difficult it feels. No matter how much you feel like you're not capable, you are. And you've been here before. And you'll keep on moving, no matter how slow it feels. No matter how much it might seem like you're not. You are. You have been. You always will be. I love you.